that members of the Hindu minority community are being targeted in the Kashmir Valley. The question is, what should security agencies and the administration do to ensure that these killings don't happen, and what can be done now to prevent another exodus? We're seeing stories of people getting into buses, wanting to get away. There's fear, anger, frustration in the community. Now, how should this very critical matter be approached? Joining me for perspective on this broadcast, former Director General of Police of the state of Jammu and Kashmir, SP Vaid. We have RP Singh, National Spokesperson of the BJP. Meenakshi Bhatt is the wife of the deceased Rahul Bhatt. I want to go across to Meenakshi first. We've got a former Director General of Police. We've got a representative of the BJP. As somebody who's seen this terror at close quarters, and you're now seeing the killing of Vijay Kumar and all these other multiple attacks, one after another in quick succession, who do you hold responsible? Who do you think is failing to do his job? Why can't these people be protected? Who do you blame? मीनाक्षी जी, आपको आवाज आ रही है मेरी? मीनाक्षी?
हाँ जी, हाँ जी।
हाँ, मैं ये कह रहा हूँ कि एक के बाद एक जिस तरह से हिंदूज की किलिंग हो रही है, आज विजय कुमार की किलिंग हुई, आपके हिसाब से गुनेगार कौन है? कौन सिक्योरिटी नहीं प्रोवाइड कर पा रहा है? किसकी जिम्मेदारी है आपके हिसाब से?
मैं वही बोल रही हूँ, गवर्नमेंट बोल रही है हम आपको सिक्योरिटी देंगे, मगर यह है कि कितनों को सिक्योरिटी देंगे वो? इनको तो कोई जानता भी नहीं होगा जिनको वो टारगेट कर रहे हैं। एक एक बंदे के साथ 24 घंटे तो नहीं रह सकते हैं वो लोग। वो कितनों को सिक्योरिटी देंगे? हेड ऑफिस में सिक्योरिटी दे सकते हैं वो, मगर बाहर तो निकलना है, बाहर कौन सिक्योरिटी देगा उनको?
Now, that's an important point you make, and I want to put this question to RP Singh of the BJP. Given the kind of claims the BJP made about wanting to take people from the Kashmiri Pandit community back to the Kashmir Valley to ensure that they were safe, you wanted to set up colonies for resettlement, 16 targeted killings of police officials, teachers, sarpanches since January this year. Why are you failing to provide security to these innocents who are being butchered by terrorists?
Rahul, your question to wife of this Rahul Bhatt was loaded. I'm sorry to say that. You said government को security दे रही है आपको.
I'm saying, who do you blame? My question was very clear, and I'm asking you the same question.
If you want, I'll repeat it, Rahul. I mean, don't. It's nothing personal. So you loaded already by saying that it was probably the government which is responsible. But yes, we own the responsibility. That yes, it's our responsibility to provide the security. But let's see how things are shaping up. What was the situation some time back? What is the situation today on ground? If you want me to, I don't want to do a comparative data study where how many were killed earlier and how many have been killed now, how many terrorists were killed earlier and how many terrorists have been killed now. And I'm not also putting a blame game that how it started way back in 1989. Where I was there, he will let you know that how the lapses happened in 1989. How
sir, forget 1989. You are in power now. You asked to be voted so that you could fix the situation in Jammu and Kashmir, and as a citizen I ask you, what are you doing? Don't tell me what happened to Rubaiya Saeed in 1989. That's history. You are the president, you are responsible, and sir, it is your government's responsibility to provide security to these innocents. Don't try and blame anyone else. This is not about 1989, this is about 2022. It's happening on your watch, sir.
I started by owning it. Yes, it's our responsibility, but we have to understand how terrorism is changing colors and shape in Kashmir today. It's no more that terrorists come with guns and they're in groups today. I mean, terrorists have a life not more than 24 hours today. But yes, there's a new sort of terrorism, which is hybrid terrorism, and forces are working on it, how to counter this hybrid terrorism. And it is not for development. It's nothing that, oh, there's no development happening, so we have to pick up guns. It's jihadi terrorism, which is being infected by across the border and supported by certain locals where they pick up guns, pistols, not guns, pistols. They come, shoot and mix up with the crowd. So intelligence network has to be geared up. I accept, and then probably they are doing their job, and I'm hopeful by some more time, things will be much better than what they seem to be doing.
Meenakshi Bhatt, the BJP spokesperson claims that things are getting better. क्या आपको लग रहा है कि पहले की तुलना में वहाँ पे जो लोग रह रहे हैं वो ज्यादा सुरक्षित महसूस कर रहे हैं? वो कह रहे हैं कि आप देखिए हमने कितने आतंकवादी मारे, पहले की तुलना में 80 का दशक हो, 90 का दशक हो, 2000 का दशक हो, उसकी तुलना में चीजें अब बहुत बेहतर हैं। क्या आपको लगता है कि ये जो लोग भाग भाग के जाना चाह रहे हैं कश्मीर वैली से, क्या वो सुरक्षित महसूस कर रहे हैं?
अब पहले तक तो सुरक्षित ही थे सारे, हमें कोई डर नहीं लगता था, मगर अब उनके माइंड में पता नहीं क्या आ गया है। वो हर किसी को बोल रहे हैं कि भाई आप ही आ गए यहाँ पे, हमारी नौकरियां खा ली आपने, ये कर लिया। उनके वैसे वो एजुकेटेड होते नहीं है, इसलिए उनकी ये मेंटालिटी ही बदल गई है। अब वो हर घर में कोई ना कोई तो रोज गायब हो रहा है, वो कहाँ जा रहे हैं? ये बेशक इन्होंने बहुत सारे मिलिटेंट्स को मारा है, इस साल भी बहुत सारे मरे हैं, मगर एक नए भी तो बन रहे हैं ना, वो भी उसका भी तो कोई इलाज होना चाहिए कि जो नए बन रहे हैं वो ना बने, जो मिलिटेंट्स है वो जीरो हो जाए। हो नहीं रहे हैं ना, या तो उनको उधर पाकिस्तान का सपोर्ट हो रहा है, तो कोई ना कोई तो अंदर से ही उनको सपोर्ट कर रहा है ना, जो इनको गन्स दे रहे हैं वो दिखाया। अब मुझे उसको देख के मुझे अपने हस्बैंड का भी याद आया, उसके ऑफिस में भी ऐसे घुस के उन्होंने उसको बेचारे को शूट किया होगा। कोई तो सपोर्ट कर रहा है ना, ऐसे थोड़ी ना चल रहा है।
SP Ved, from a purely security paradigm, let's leave the anger and the emotions aside for a minute. Why are killings going up? This is clearly part of a strategy, and why do you think the forces and the administration there are not being able to provide security?
Rahul, it is, I think, a well laid out strategy from across, and the handlers of deep state are able to achieve the target of creating fear and scare in the mind of people, and that's what they wanted to achieve. They have been able to a large extent do that by targeting these minorities, those who do not represent the composite culture, those who represent the composite culture and do not represent the Islamic jihadi mindset, like Amarina. It is direct challenge to the narrative of the government that peace is returning after abrogation of Article 370, and I think the new game plan of the ISI for last 6-7 months is taking its shape. Many of them have been eliminated, and I think much more needs to be done because the game plan is to make these people target by individually choosing. I have a reason to believe that terrorists have drawn up a list of such soft targets, because I recall when I was DGP in 2017-18, when policemen were being targeted, I was informed that there were the terrorists have drawn up a list of policemen who had worked in anti-terror operations, who were awarded medals, gallantry medals, who were given out-of-turn promotion. Something like this has been drawn up, and look at...
No, but when the question comes of what should be done, I was reading a past comment of yours where you seem to be suggesting that, like was done by the village defense committees in the area of Jammu, that these Hindus should be provided guns, that they should be armed so that they can defend themselves. Do you really think of that as a workable solution? Please explain why.
Rahul, see, defensive training is very, very important for anyone, including the minorities, the migrants, employees, even policemen. If somebody is taking one particular route, the other route, he should not return by same route. Similarly, a policeman, if he is going to chutti to his home, instead of going home, he should be calling his relatives to the place secure place he is living, or whenever he is planning to go, no one should know about it. There are many aspects of defensive training, and similarly arming some of the people where they are collectively living, I think they can defend themselves. But going with the arms to isolated places, it's not possible. For example, a school teacher is going to the school. She can't carry arm. It's not practical. It's not possible. We had used this aspect in Jammu region. If you recall, attempts were made for to make the community, minority community, migrate from Jammu region. But then we constituted village defense committees, and that stalled the migration. In fact, there used to be encounters of whole night till the reinforcement from army and paramilitary used to reach.
Sure, I've seen some of these village defense committees. Some of them were later alleged as having become extra constitutional authorities themselves. So there are some problems with arming civilians as well. But for the moment, I want to go across to Irfa Jan of the National Conference. Irfa, why do you think that terrorists are targeting these Hindus in such quick succession? It's not as if it hasn't happened in the past, but those were isolated instances. It seems, as SP Vaid suggests, that there is a list that these terrorists are acting on. They have specific information on where these Hindus are. They are going there and knocking them off one after another.
You see, the question you've asked is why are they doing it? Well, let's recall the last time they actually did it was in 1989 when it was the VP Singh's government with support of the BJP at center, and in the state we had Governor's rule who happened to be Jagmohan Malhotra. Then in 2010, under the National Conference's government, it was our government that got all these Kashmiri Pandits back, the ones you see on your screen who are right now protesting and saying that they want to go back. In fact, it was the National Conference government that received 30,000 applications from Kashmiri Pandit families under the Prime Minister's rehabilitation scheme, saying that they wanted to come back, return to the valley and live here. And now it's BJP's government in the state for 8 years and in the center for 8 years. And right under their nose, we see Exodus 2 happening. So if it is not a political failure, please tell me what it is.
So you're making this political, you're charging that the last Exodus happened when the BJP was an alliance partner. Now again, Hindus are being forced to leave, and therefore the blame rests on your shoulders, RP Singh, because you're in power both in Kashmir and in Delhi.
Look who is talking. The Farooq Abdullah left Kashmir and ran away to London. He left Kashmir burning.
It was completely our prerogative to leave.
Stop lynching,
we resigned because nobody wanted to work with Jagmohan Malhotra. We did not want to work with Jagmohan Malhotra when he had a track record of demolition.
The first killing happened in 1989, September 1989.
Yes, and who was that person? It was a National Conference worker who was the first person to die. It was a National Conference worker who was the first person to die. अरे अभी भी opposition को भी blame करोगे? 8 साल बाद भी opposition को blame करोगे? 8 साल बाद भी opposition को गालियाँ मारोगे? When are you guys going to stand up? Please resign, sir. Your government has failed. Your government has failed in Jammu and Kashmir. Your government has failed in this center.
No, but I don't see how shouting serves any purpose.
For the BJP
no, one second. RP Singh, Irfa, 1 second. The situation is already so volatile. You guys are shouting at each other. It's not serving any purpose. RP Singh, you blaming Farooq Abdullah. Sir ji, 1 second. Farooq Abdullah is not the problem right now. Your government is in power. Your administration is in power in the state. These killings are happening on your watch. You tell me, what are you doing to fix the problem? Why is this happening on your watch? Why can't you prevent these killings? You explain only this.
I said initially that because a lady was spewing lies on your channel by blaming Jagmohan and others.
Ma'am, let him speak,
you
please.
Can speak, keep... This is not fair now. Rahul, the woman doesn't... Stop pinching, ma'am. I mean, that's not your Kashmir here now. I'm sitting at my home. If you want to do that, I'll come to Kashmir and we'll work out there. But understand, Rahul, the fact is that we are owning this, and it's a matter of time, we'll fix it also. I'm assuring you today. And one thing. Secondly, let's understand, the root of the problem is the locals. I mean, had she once said, yes, the terrorism which is someone cause of should be condemned, they will never condemn. They will support the terrorism. Farooq Farooq Abdullah seek support of such terrorists for elections.
Where do
You
we
are the one who supported Hurriyat.
3,000 National Conference
You are the one who
workers
supported
in
Hurriyat.
terror attacks?
You because you wanted to make
3,000
money, you
National
wanted to make
Conference
houses in
workers
London.
have been
That's
killed
why
in
you
terror
did this.
attacks. We have survived around 10,000 National Conference workers have survived around 10,000 terror attacks. And because you have nothing to say, you're saying National Conference is responsible.
Because you were in hand and glove with the terrorists. You did
No,
you
sir.
did
Once again, RP Singh at this, RP Singh, once again, RP Singh, once again. If the NC or the PDP were in power, then blaming Farooq Abdullah or IFRA makes sense. Right now, it is your administration, this is in power. You have to find the solutions. So you're making this point, and I want to put that question to Dr. Agni Shekhar, who's the convener of Panun Kashmir. RP Singh says we own the problem, we recognize it, we feel bad that these killings are happening, but terror is down, things are better than they were earlier, and that we will fix the problem. Do you have any faith in what the BJP is claiming, Dr. Agni Shekhar?
मैं इसको पूरे 32 साल के रेफरेंस फ्रेम में देखता हूं। हमारे लिए कोई सिचुएशन बदली नहीं है। ये जिहाद है, इसको नहीं, जब तक आप नहीं मानेंगे तब तक ये रिपीट होता रहेगा। जब तक आप इस बात को नहीं मानते हैं कि एक रिलीजियस क्लींजिंग हुई राइट फ्रॉम 90 जो आज तक जारी है और उसमें हमको कोई चेंज नहीं दिखती है। और जहां अभी डॉक्टर फारूक अब्दुल्ला की बात हुई 1986 से 18 जनवरी 1990 तक डॉक्टर फारूक अब्दुल्ला वाज इन पावर, और यही वो पीरियड है जब सबसे ज्यादा ट्रेंड टेररिस्ट पाकिस्तान से इधर आए। और इन्हीं के जमाने में और 18 जनवरी को ये सबको भेड़ियों के हाथ, भेड़ियों को सौंप कर खुद लंदन मार गए। ये एक एस्पेक्ट को बोला नहीं जा सकता, इसको नहीं किया जा सकता। रही बात इसकी कि हमको शिकायत आज की सरकार से भी है, मोदी सरकार से है कि इनकी पॉलिसी में फ्लॉ है। एक तो ये है कि एक जिहाद चल रहा है, इसको ये रिकॉग्नाइज नहीं कर रहे। रिलीजियस क्लींजिंग हुई है, इसको रिकॉग्नाइज नहीं कर रहे। जेनोसाइड हुआ है जो जारी है, उसको रिकॉग्नाइज नहीं कर रहे। और पिछले 1 साल से 2 साल से या 3 महीने की जो टारगेट किलिंग्स हैं, टारगेट किलिंग्स का मैसेज क्या है? मैसेज क्लियर वही है कि यहां हिंदू नहीं चाहिए उनको, चाहे वो लोकल हो, चाहे वो नॉन लोकल हो, चाहे वो बिंद्रू हो, चाहे वो सरदार हमारी बहन सतविंदर हो, चाहे वो आज विजय कुमार हो, चाहे वो कल की रजनीबाला हो, चाहे वो राहुल हो, कोई भी हो। They don't want Kashmiri Pandits back. They don't want Hindus in Kashmir. क्लियर कट ये है, लेकिन आप क्लियर बात नहीं करेंगे। न ये सरकार करती है जो बड़े बड़े दावे करती है, मोदी सरकार भी जो दावे करती है, मोदी सरकार भी हमको लगता है कि ये उसी पॉलिसी पे चल रही है जो मनमोहन सिंह की पॉलिसी थी। ये कांग्रेस की पॉलिसी से कहीं डिफरेंट नहीं दिखती है आफ्टर एब्रोगेशन ऑफ आर्टिकल 370, आफ्टर 370 और 35A के बाद जो इन्होंने करना था इन्होंने नहीं किया। और आपने
Let RP Singh respond, because you're saying that nothing much has changed after the revocation of Article 370, and this coming from somebody who originally would have been a hardcore BJP supporter, and therefore for them to say that nothing has changed, that things are as bad as they were when Manmohan Singh was in power. Now it almost seems on this issue, RP Singh, your supporters aren't happy with your performance.
No, we are not. We are not.
जी, मैं अग्नि शेखर जी, मैं आपका दर्द समझता हूँ, परंतु मैं जो विषय को बताता हूँ आपको।
370-35 भाई साहब, दर्द का निवारण करने, दवा करने की जरूरत है, समझने की जरूरत नहीं है।
आपने कहा, मैं आपको
सब कहा,
मैं आपको
देखिए,
दे रहा हूँ,
जब तक इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर चेंज और जब तक एड्रेस नहीं करेंगे जेनोसाइड को नहीं, तब तक ये होता रहेगा।
मैंने कश्मीर में 2 दशक लगाए हैं। एक बार रुकिए, एक मिनट सुनिए। 370-35 से हटाने से पहले वहाँ पर हर जुम्मे के दिन क्या होता था? नारे तकबीर, अल्लाहू अकबर, हमें कहते हैं आजादी, निजाम मुस्तफा। वहाँ पर काले झंडे पकड़े जाते थे ISS के। वहाँ पर क्या हालत होती थी? वहाँ पर एक सिलेंडर निकलता था कि सबसे ये होगा, सबसे होगा, इसको ये होगा। आज वो नहीं हो रहा। वहाँ पत्थरबाजी होती थी, वहाँ पर लगातार हर जुम्मे के दिन रोज के रोज पत्थरबाजी होती, तो बंद हुई वहाँ पर। वहाँ जिस प्रकार के वहाँ माहौल था, आज वो माहौल ठीक है। आज कश्मीरी पंडित वहाँ प्रोटेस्ट कर रहे हैं, वहाँ पर सड़कों पर प्रोटेस्ट कर पा रहे हैं। ये अपने आप में
उनके पास रास्ता ही नहीं है कोई, उनके पास ऑप्शन नहीं है कोई। आपने उनको हॉस्टेज बना के रखा है।
पहले कर पाते क्या? मैं आपके सामने बोलूंगा नहीं, पर 370-35 से हटाने से पहले कर पाते थे क्या? ये नहीं हो पाता था। आज कर रहे हैं। हम तो इसका स्वागत करें कि ठीक है, अगर कोई गलती है उसको सुधारेंगे और आपको भी प्रोटेस्ट करने का अधिकार है, हम तो कह रहे अधिकार है, परंतु आज वहां पर जमहूरियत को नीचे लेकर गए हैं पिछले कुछ सालों में। हाँ, आपकी बात मैं इस बात से राजी हूँ कि ये डेवलपमेंट के एजेंडे के चलते हुए नहीं हो रहा, आप डेवलपमेंट का एजेंडा अपनी जगह है, परंतु इस जिहाद को रोकने के लिए अलग से काम करना पड़ेगा और उसके लिए सुनिश्चित सरकार वहाँ की जो कश्मीर की जम्मू कश्मीर की सरकार है उस पर काम करिए और आपको आने वाले दिन में उसके फल दिखेंगे, उसको नतीजे दिखेंगे।
मैं खाली 3 पॉइंट आपका एक मिनट लेना चाहूंगा, 1 मिनट लेना चाहूंगा एज सर्वाइवर ऑफ जिनोसाइड। नंबर 1, ये सरकार जिनोसाइड को रिकॉग्नाइज करे, ये सरकार रिकॉग्नाइज करे कि रिलीजियस क्लींजिंग हैज टेकन प्लेस इन कश्मीर। नंबर 2, जो आपने होस्टेज हमारे बच्चों को रखा है, आप खुद आपके पुलिस महानिदेशक ने अभी कहा एलजी की मीटिंग में कि 2 से 3 साल तक लगेंगे टेररिज्म को खत्म होने में, और 2 से 3 साल तक आप इनको स्केपगोट बना के रखे हैं, आप इनको होस्टेज बना के रखे हैं। और आपसे जब पता ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है, दे आर क्लियर, गवर्नमेंट क्लियर नहीं है या स्पाइन नहीं है, दे आर क्लियर यहाँ क्या चलेगा निजाम मुस्तफा। उसका दूसरा फॉर्मेट अब आया है जिसको आप हाइब्रिड टेररिज्म कहते हैं, जो वो फॉर्मेट बदलते रहिए लेकिन मोटिव एक है, एम वही है, और रोज रोज हमारी हत्याएं हो रही हैं, हमारे बच्चों की हो रही हैं, और जो भी नॉन लोकल्स हैं या जो सॉफ्ट टारगेट उनके हैं या जो बिल्कुल बेगुनाह लोग हैं, जैसे अमरीन अभी मारी गई, क्यों मारी गई? क्योंकि शी वॉज एन आर्टिस्ट। दे डोंट लाइक आर्ट कल्चर को एग्जिस्टेंस। तो ये जो पूरा जिहाद है ये एक आइडियोलॉजिकल वॉरफेयर है कश्मीर में, इसको कब मानेंगे आप? इसको मानिए, नहीं मानेंगे तो रिपीट होता रहेगा। इनके कोई आंकड़े
आपने बोलिए तो मैं उत्तर दे दूं। अगर माना कभी धारा 335 से हटाई, उसी के चलते धारा 335 हटाई, माना
उसका सबसे ज्यादा हमने भाजपा से ज्यादा वेलकम उसका किया, लेकिन उसके बाद आपने क्या किया? धारा 370 और 35 से हटाए जाने के बाद से जो आपको कदम उठाने चाहिए थे हमारे पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से, वो आपने नहीं उठाए, आप नहीं उठा रहे हैं। वो उनका तो हमने, वो मोनूमेंटल कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन है आपका, आपके मोदी जी का, सरकार का, लेकिन उसके बाद जो आपको करना चाहिए था आपने बिल्कुल नहीं किया।
मैं आपको उत्तर दे दूं सर, मैं धन्यवाद सर, आपको उत्तर दे दूं। धारा 370-35 से हटाने के बाद आज पत्थरबाजी नहीं होती, आज वहां पर निजाम मुस्तफा के नारे सरेआम जुम्मे की नमाज के बाद नहीं गाए जाते, वहां पर आज आईएसएस के झंडे नहीं लहराए जाते, आज वहां पर घरों पर तिरंगे भी लहराए जाते हैं। तो ये बदल हो रहा है और इस बदल में आपका सहयोग के बिना ये नहीं होगा। हम आपका सहयोग मांग रहे हैं और आपको वादा कर रहे हैं कि आने वाले दिनों में आप, अरे एक मिनट आप रुकिए ना सर, आप हमारा सहयोग,
एक एक करके मारे जा रहे हैं हमारे बच्चे।
उनको मुकुल जवाब दिया।
सुन लो सर, नेताजी सुन लो उनकी बात, तो क्या बोल रहे हैं उनका दर्द सुनो आप।
सुनिए, आपको हमारा सहयोग नहीं, आपकी जो ध्वनि निकलती है, आपको हमारे बलिदान चाहिए। आपको कौन सी बात रोकती है? अगर स्वयं आप खुद कह रहे हैं 2 से 2.5 साल तक लग सकते हैं इसको खत्म, तब तक आप हमारे बच्चों को जम्मू संभाग में क्यों नहीं ये रिलोकेट कर सकते हैं? और आपके हिसाब से जब नॉर्मल सी होगी फिर वापस जाएंगे, हम नहीं स्टॉप कर रहे हैं। आप कश्मीरी पंडितों से बात तक नहीं कर रहे। आप मुझे बताइए 7 साल में कितनी बार आपने हमारे साथ बात की? वी आर द स्टेक होल्डर्स। आप खुद के ये लगा रहे हैं, हम आपसे डिनाई नहीं करते। 370 आपने हटाया, 35 से दायर आपने रिऑर्गेनाइज किया, हमने वेलकम किया, इवन बीजेपी से ज्यादा कश्मीरी पंडितों ने वेलकम किया। लेकिन आप कह रहे हैं सहयोग चाहिए। सहयोग क्या कर रहे हैं हम? तो बलिदान, आप बलिदान हमारा मांग रहे हैं। आप ब्लॉक करके रखने, हम लॉक करके रख रहे हैं हमारे कैंपों में बच्चों को। उनको लाइए ना तब तक, या जब तक आपकी सेफ्टी और सिक्योरिटी वहां होगी। इट्स अ जेनोसाइड भैया, मेरे भाई साहब, ये जेनोसाइड, इसको मानो। ये संसद में आप क्यों नहीं करते हो? व्हाई डोंट यू एनेक्ट ए जेनोसाइड बिल इन द पार्लियामेंट ऑफ इंडिया? व्हाट स्टॉप्स यू? ये आपसे ही सारी आशाएं हैं साहब। अभी भी कश्मीरी पंडितों की जो अभी डोलड्रम में हैं, अभी पेंडुलम की तरह इधर उधर जा रहे हैं, सारी होप्स और सारी एक्सपेक्टेशन आपसे है, और आप नहीं करेंगे तो कोई नहीं करेगा। ये तो हताशा। और टेररिस्ट में एक बात अंत में ये कहना चाहूंगा कि जो समझाया जाता है टूरिस्ट के आने से नॉर्मल सी है, डिनायल ऑफ जेनोसाइड। आप टूरिस्ट को लाइए, उससे क्या करते हैं? डिनाई करते हैं ना, कवर करते हैं जेनोसाइड को। आप पिलग्रिमेज टूरिज्म को ले जा रहे हैं, क्या कर रहे हैं? डिनाई कर रहे हैं। आप डिनायल ऑफ जेनोसाइड मत करिए, इसको एक्सेप्ट करिए, रिकॉग्नाइज करिए। देखिए, नहीं तो नहीं, रिपीट होता रहेगा। हम बहुत दुखी हैं। हमारे पेरेंट्स दुखी हैं इन बच्चों के, हमारी पूरी कम्युनिटी दुखी है। एक एक करके स्टिंग डक्स बनाया जा रहा है इनको।
Why don't you move them to Jammu? RP Singh, respond to Dr. Agni Shekhar. Till the time you can't fix the security situation, till the time reality doesn't meet your claims, move them to safety to Jammu. Don't insist that they go to Kashmir. Bring them only when things are safe for people like Agni Shekhar and Meenakshi.
Rahul, there already a change in policy. They have been shifted to the district headquarters where there's a proper security now. None of them will be allowed to be in the local areas, and that move has been already done by the local administration, the government there. And I'm saying again, we are assuring you that this new hybrid terrorism will be also tackled. You'll see results in coming few days or months itself. It's not that you have to wait for long. Just wait for few more days or months, probably less than a month. Things will change on ground also.
Ifra, do you think this is a good idea that move these Hindus to Jammu? I'm coming back to you. Let's listen to the others as well. Move them to Jammu till the time the security situation in the Kashmir Valley comes under control.
You see, at this point, we will have to listen to the communities themselves. Right now, we are in no position to dictate to the communities what to do and what not to do. But the point here I want to make is that...
That's what they want. But
the point I want to make here is that...
That's what you want.
सर आपकी सरकार है, आपकी सरकार है सर, आपकी सरकार है सर, आपकी सरकार है वहाँ पे,
हम करेंगे। आपकी
सेंटर में भी आपकी सरकार है, वहाँ पे भी आपकी सरकार है। फेल हो चुके हैं ना, फेल हो चुके हैं, फेल हो चुके हैं आप, आपको शर्म भी नहीं आती, रिजाइन नहीं करेंगे, रेजिग्नेशन दीजिए अपना, रेजिग्नेशन दीजिए अपना, रेजिग्नेशन चाहिए आपका, आपकी सरकार फेल हो चुकी है, रेजिग्नेशन दीजिए अपना, रिजाइन फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट, यू आर नॉट फिट टू रूल, रिजाइन फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट, यू आर नॉट फिट टू रूल। आप यही डिमोलिशन म्युनिसिपैलिटी के कराते रहिए, उसमें आप अच्छा करते हैं। आप नेशनल सिक्योरिटी नहीं संभाल पा रहे हैं, 8 साल हो गए, एवरीबॉडी कैन सी दिस, बच्चा ये चीज समझ चुका है, आप नेशनल सिक्योरिटी समझने के लायक ही नहीं। सर आप किसी बुलडोजर चलाइए, आप डिमोलिशन कराइए, आप किसी बुलडोजर पर चढ़ जाइए।
This is the problem. What these killings are doing is raising questions over the BJP's track record in Kashmir over the last 8 years. Because the fact is, whether it is at the center or at the state, it's the BJP that rules. They are trying to project that tourism is looking up, that development is in high gear, that things are now much better, security situation is under control. This kind of fear amongst the Kashmiri Pandit community, amongst the Hindu community in the valley really raises very serious questions about those claims about security having improved after the revocation of Article 370.
Yes, Rahul, there is no doubt that the minority community is feeling insecure, and in fact, after the abrogation of Article 370, you had pulled the land below the feet of the deep state in Pakistan, the handlers there. They had invested for more than 3.5 decades, millions of rupees. And for them it is do and die now. That's why they changed the strategy after civilian targeted killings. And this is what they want to counter the narrative of normalcy. And I think we need to shore up our intelligence. We need to speed up our anti-terror operations. We need to do a lot of work on checking radicalization, which is taking place. Still, madrasas are running. We need to take steps against all those who are sheltering such terrorist elements. I think the very same society in which these terrorists are operating also
do you agree with Dr. Agni Shekhar's suggestion that move these Kashmiri Pandits or the Hindus to Jammu if you can't take care of them in Kashmir? Let them be in Jammu for 2 or 3 years. Let the BJP administration deal with the security situation. Once security is under control, then send them back?
Rahul, I think suggestion of Mr. Agni Shekhar is quite valid. If we cannot protect them, I think we should not make them a fodder in front of the terrorists to get them killed one by one. Temporary shifting them is no setback. Initially, if you recall, I had opposed it that this is what terrorists and ISI wanted. But then instead of getting them killed, and if we can't protect them, unless you make arrangements that they are moved to the offices which are secure, which are guarded, where a terrorist with a weapon cannot enter, and they have a secure accommodation, and they are properly escorted to the office from the residence, like Secretariat implies. If that is done, then it is okay. Otherwise, it is instead of getting them killed, it's better to shift them temporarily.
Okay, I'm going to leave it over there. Very important observations and insights on this discussion in the Newstrack. If you can't take care of the Kashmiri Pandit and the Hindu community in the valley, don't leave them out as cannon fodder. Ensure that there is a plan, not in a period of months or years, but here days and weeks, so that they can be kept secure while the security situation is not under control. And secondly, it is true that this is what the ISI and the Pak army would want, but unless you can provide security, take care of your own people, you can't just leave them out. As Agnishekhar said, you can't have our Balidan, have us sacrificing our young ones just because you want to make a point that things are looking up and that security is better and that tourism is flourishing. There are killings. These killings are problematic, and we'll track how the government responds to them. For the time being, SP Ved, RP Singh, Ifra Jan, Meenakshi Bhatt and Dr. Agnishekhar for joining us in the Newstrack. Thank you very much.